So what is going on with Pedro Pascal at the minute?
I don't know.
Now, this is an actor who seems to be inescapable. The guy is everywhere. And honestly, I would say now is probably the most popular person in Hollywood at the minute. He's been in older shows like Game of Thrones, but then he's been in more recent shows like The Mandalorian, Star Wars. He was obviously Joel in The Last of Us, and he was basically the only reason that we still kept trying to watch that show. But then more recently, which seems to inevitably happen to every single actor, he ended up in the MCU as Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't even hate him for that. I think it is unfortunately inevitable that you end up being in the MCU at some point. I mean, let's be real here. If amazing actors like Christian Bale, who played Batman and lost a ridiculous amount of weight to be in a film called The Machinist, that guy has dedication. He appears in the MCU, there is no hope for anyone. But again, this guy's been everywhere, to the point that a lot of people are thinking, have we had enough of Pedro Pascal? And I do like this. There seems to be a cycle that always happens. You get someone that gets incredibly popular incredibly quickly, and then a lot of people think, oh, this person was never good, they suck. But one thing that people seem to be claiming at the minute about Pedro is his career's been going far, but his hands have been going even further. So Pedro has been called out quite a lot on the internet for his quite uncommon methods to reduce his anxiety. This usually being touching other people, holding hands, getting a massage, touching their waists. And this has been a thing that I think he's always been doing. But obviously because of the press tour with the Fantastic Four film, it's basically just came to the spotlight now. And what always happens with the internet, there's that classic escalation. And now anytime I see a video of Pedro Pascal trying to reduce his anxiety, the top comment will probably be some gif of Dokes from Dexter. How it feels watching Pedro Pascal rub up on that pregnant married woman because of his anxiety. They just always use the Dokes clip, man. They always use the Dokes clip. It's just become synonymous with Pedro Pascal now. If you didn't know, for a bit of lore there, Dokes was one of the characters that kind of realized that something was off about Dexter, but he couldn't actually prove it. He was just waiting for the evidence. So now you've got floods of comments of people basically saying, I knew that he was a predator. I knew first. Now, do I think this is a bit of an overreaction? Yeah, probably. I mean, one thing I do want to say, I can totally understand why you would see a guy touching a bunch of co-stars on set, and it seems a little bit weird, but all of it seems completely consensual. There doesn't really seem to be an issue there. But I can see why people draw the parallels. I mean, a great example that comes to mind for me is Louis Walsh. He's like a music manager, producer kind of guy. There's this one clip that went viral of him touching another woman from behind, and like, you can tell that she's not comfortable with it, and it's just absolutely grim to watch. But I also think it's that effect of Pedro Pascal is absolutely inescapable. He is everywhere.
What movie you want to see? You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie? You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie? Or do you want to see a Pedro Pascal movie?
And again, what happens if you see someone constantly every day, you get a bit fatigued them. And that fatigue, because it's the internet, always seems to turn into outright hate very, very quickly. And I also think being a movie star, it's an incredibly volatile job, because all it takes, like if you've got this amazing career going for you, if you're in one bad film or you direct one bad film, that's it. People will keep using that against you for the rest of your career. I mean, a great personal example that I can think of is Alex Garland. He's not an actor, but a writer and more recently a director. I think his first film he directed was Ex Machina, an amazing film. He also did the more recent 28 Years Later, which he wrote, and Annihilation, which is personally one of my favorite films. He also did Civil War and more recently Warfare, which are both amazing films, especially Warfare. That was really slept on. I do recommend people watch that. But then also he did the film Men. And if you couldn't tell from the title alone, the entire film is basically Men Le Bad. And like, this guy has basically an almost perfect track record. Men was pretty mid, but I've seen people bring up arguments over and over that, oh, isn't that the Men Le Bad guy? No, I don't like his stuff anymore. And also, I don't think anyone likes to admit it because it'd be quite embarrassing, but we're definitely living in a culture right now where there's a huge celebration about people like being cancelled that you didn't like, but when you're asked why you don't like them, you can't actually put your finger on it. I'm not joking you. Like, there are loads and loads of like Instagram Reels and TikToks going over this like strange phenomena of like, oh, I see this person a lot. I don't know, they give me the ick for some reason. Wait, they got cancelled? Oh my God, yes!
I'm so
so happy.
I mean, we're definitely all guilty of that. I think even I've been guilty of that. I think just as a species, we're incredibly petty. Now, apart from the Pedro being le famous, le bad, obviously, again, he's being very touchy-feely with a lot of women. But the thing is, a lot of these clips of him being kind of, you know, grabby with women and stuff, it seems consensual. I've never seen any of these actors actually complain about it afterwards. And also, there are loads of clips of him also touching, like, male co-stars as well. So it's not like he's going after just the women. Ranking the best Pedro Pascal anxiety moments. Vanessa Kirby on the Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's a little bit touchy. I mean, look at that. Like, she's touching his neck. She's initiating contact. Yeah, she's married, by the way. They might actually be having an affair. I mean, is it weird that he's getting so touchy-feely? I've never seen actors do that, to be fair. Apart from that time with Will Smith at the Oscars. But less of that. Pedro Pascal, keep my wife's hips out your hands. But also, as well, he's been quite touchy-feely with women that do have husbands as well, which has aroused a bit of suspicion. And what people have also seemed to have pointed out is that Pedro Pascal didn't seem to have any kind of anxiety around Bella Ramsey. Yeah, no guy is 50 years old, and I think Bella Ramsey was like 18 or 19 at the time of The Last of Us being filmed. Tried Pedro Pascal anxiety gimmick with a co-worker and got reported to HR. Pedro Pascal during interviews because he has anxiety. Pedro Pascal to his nearest woman co-worker after he has a small anxiety attack. I don't think that... No. Okay. That's a... Why does that guy look like Andrew Tate? It's over. We should just have this meme of Pedro Pascal having anxiety around other actors. And you've got, like, Pedro and the other actor consenting. And then you've just got James Dokes on the other side saying, no, I don't actually consent. Now, I don't want to make this entire video a Pedro Pascal glaze, because some of the interactions have seemed to be a little bit awkward. Like, for example, the time where Pedro was touching Willem Dafoe's wife, kind of like by her chin, while Willem Dafoe was right next to them. Here we go. Pedro Pascal's anxiety when taking control when he's with your pregnant wife. Also, that subplot sucked. But again, he has been very open about this kind of like physical contact helps to kind of relieve his anxiety. As an outlooker, it can seem a little bit weird, mostly because most Hollywood actors realize that they're under the camera and they have to act, you know, completely perfect for the pictures, stoic. And then you've got this kind of like messy guy just kind of touching people, like grabbing people. Like, it seems weird. But again, like at no point has anyone actually came out and said, no, I'm actually not comfortable with this. Can you... Like I've seen no call-outs about him. I've just seen James Dokes over and over, like doing that. Pedro Pascal coming home after a very anxious day. Oh, you can't even play? Oh, it's got copyrighted audio. God, I hate YouTube so much. Okay, he never did that. He never did that bit at the end. And to give a bit more context, I feel as well, Pedro Pascal, as happy as he looks, apart from in Wonder Woman, when he's completely clean-shaven, and he actually went on an interview and said that he looked so disgusting and repulsive, he is never going to go clean-shaven again.
Clean-shaven? But I was so appalled by the way that I looked that I've never gone back.
I could never imagine. But Pedro did not have the best life growing up. I mean, he's from Chile in the 1970s. And if you're aware, that was not a good time to be alive then. There was a guy called Allende, and he got elected into power. He was like a self-described socialist. And this led another guy called Pinochet to do a military coup. And this was really bad for Pedro Pascal's family because his mother's cousin was very primary in the opposition against the military regime. And so him as a child, he actually had to go and seek political asylum. I mean, I would say that is probably in the top 10 best ways to not start your life, I'd say. That might leave some kind of like lasting after effects, some PTSD, some anxiety. Now, I can also see talking about like Chilean politics leading to Pedro Pascal touching people. It seems like a huge leap in logic, but at the same time, I'm just trying to explain how he might have actually had this anxiety to begin with in the first place. I mean, his breakout role was, what, 2014 with Game of Thrones? He's basically had constant eyes on him since, but progressively, he's been snowballing recently and getting more and more popular, more and more famous, more and more people talking about him. Now, obviously, a lot of people want to know, is there any actual psychological like research or backing to prove this, or is it a cope that Pedro Pascal is using to touch people? I mean, he did talk about the COVID lockdown pandemic also heightening his anxiety, but that probably did the same thing to everyone else. And whenever I think of a celebrity and COVID, I just think of that terrible musical number when a bunch of celebrities got together and just started singing. God, that was awful. Now, obviously, there are loads and loads of studies out there that flat out prove, with tons of research, that physical touch can actually improve your mental health. It can reduce feelings of anxiety, of depression, and it basically sends signals to your brain letting you know, okay, everything might be okay. Now, Pedro Pascal got his co-stars acting after telling them he has social anxiety. I can't even tell if that's real or not. Is that AI? I mean, you've got oxytocin as well, which is basically known like as the official love hormone. And even though personally, I don't really see an issue with what Pedro is doing, it can be a little bit weird, but it all, again, seems completely consensual. Here's a video of me in an elevator, and Pedro Pascal came in the elevator and he started filming me.
Just you and me now. I'm gonna touch you.
Alright, dude. What the flip?